So now let's take a look at how to define and create entities in the App Engine data store. To continue the food theme that Magnus started at the Big Table restaurant, let's imagine that you want to store recipes in the data store. Maybe you like chocolate cake, or maybe you prefer rhubarb pie. But whichever kind of dessert you like, your recipe is going to need some properties. What are some things that we'd want to store about a recipe in any database? Well, obviously it needs to have a name, and a list of ingredients, and some instructions. And it could also have properties about whether or not it's vegetarian, and how many servings it makes. All of these are parts of a recipe, so that would make them fields in a recipe record. Now, our data store also needs to know which type each of these values has. And earlier Magnus told you that fields like these are called properties in App Engine, so let's add that. Now you might have noticed that these are an awful lot like the field classes that we saw in Proto-RPC messages in Lesson 2. Like those, these are a way of saying what types the various fields have. But data store entities aren't the same as Proto-RPC messages, so these property types have their own names. So if name and ingredients and instructions and so forth are properties, what is a recipe then? Let's go back and revisit what you learned from Magnus with a short quiz. What sort of a thing is recipe? Is it a data store entity, or maybe a kind, or is it an object-oriented class, or a property? Select any of these that might apply.